We're this morning at the site of Caesarea Philippi, on the far north of Israel, both today and in the day of Jesus. This was the place that Jesus chose to take his disciples. They had been in Galilee, near the Sea of Galilee. The long walk, about a 5 or 6 day walk, all the way up here to the extreme north, because he had an important question to ask them. This is recorded for us in Matthew chapter 16. And he asked first, who do people say that I am? So the disciples gave the typical answers of an important person, essentially a special person. But of course, humanly speaking, everybody guesses less than the truth, because the truth is he is God. And the general population doesn't recognize his deity. The real question Jesus wanted to ask was, but who do you say that I am? And that can help us understand why Christ would have taken this place to ask that question, because it's in contrast to what we see here at Caesarea Philippi. There's a big cave here, used to be the main source of water for this site, and they had constructed a temple to the god Pan. Right where we're sitting, there was a temple to Augustus. You see idol niches off on the cliff face, and then beyond that there was another temple dedicated to Zeus. So this is pagan territory, though it's within the land of Israel. And Jesus brought them here because here they're surrounded with adversity, surrounded with people that have other views apart from the truth. The real test of our conviction of truth is, will you stand on the truth even when everybody else seems to be going in the other direction? So we asked that question. Peter, representing the disciples, responded by saying this: "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." That was the testimony of the disciples by their observation, but more importantly, Christ tells Peter and the other disciples, not because they were smart enough to figure it out. This is truth about Jesus that God has to reveal. He revealed it to the disciples, and they believed. All of this, though, has an important point, because Jesus chooses this occasion to introduce what he was going to describe as the church, the very embodiment of his work on earth after his ascension. First mention of that occurs in this next verse, as he says, "You are Peter, on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." Christ was going to build the church, and here he is inviting the disciples to join him. They would provide part of the foundation, as Paul tells us later in the book of Ephesians, and he also guarantees success. This is going to work. It is going to accomplish Christ's purpose. Furthermore, he says, "I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." That's our opportunity to use the key of the gospel. That's the key that opens heaven. Sharing the gospel with others is opening the door and inviting people to come in. That's the privilege we have in our day as well. And it all centers on the person of Christ, on his authority, and on our commitment to focus where Christ's focus is, which is right on the church. We need God's grace to be faithful.